This is the third session of Isavasya Upanishad. I welcome all of you. We shall have satsanga, we shall have jnana yajna in this auspicious evening. In the last two sessions, we were discussing about Upanishadic monism. That the reality is one. That one reality may be called Isa, may be called Ishvara, may be called God, may be called X. The name is not important. In whatever name we can name it, but we have to understand that it is one. It cannot be two. It cannot be many. Many in principle, two in principle. Then the question comes, then what is the status of the manyness, the diversities, the pluralities that we see around us? We see the world of plurality. We see the world of diversities. We see the changes. If the reality is one, and we cannot say that it is two, it is many, then what we see around us in our practical experience, that there are many reality, many things, many aspects of one thing, varieties of things are there. How is it possible? What is the status of this Jagat? What is the status of this multitude, this manyness, this diversity? So this is the beauty of Upanishadic teaching, that when we are discussing about monism, when we are discussing about the ultimate reality as one, the world of diversity is not explained away. It is not rejected. So we have to discuss how one and many can exist together without committing any contradiction, without committing any logical oddity. One and two, one and many, the opposites can exist together. The unmanifest and the manifest, Avyakta and Vyakta, both can exist together. So in the first verse, we were discussing that Isavasyam idam sarvam. That means one is one entity that is all pervaded. It cannot be two because truth is one. And what is the definition of truth? Truth is that which cannot be contradicted by any other principle. Satyam abadhitam. This is truth. The definition of truth is that it cannot be contradicted by any second principle, any other principle. So there is no other. If there are two or there are many, then there will be contradiction. They will contradict each other. In that sense, we believe in one principle. We believe means that is truth. That is truth. We may believe or may not believe. We may know or may not know. But truth is truth. That is one. Due to our ignorance, we mistake the one as two, one as many. Therefore there are different systems of Indian philosophy. The oneness is interpreted differently in different philosophical systems. That one principle is discussed as two, Purusha and Prakriti, in Sankhya system. That one entity is discussed as many in Vaisheshika system, in the Vishishta Dvaitavada of Ramanuja. So the one Ekam Satyam Vigraha Bauddha Vadanga, that means the one truth may be believed, may not be believed, may be known, may not be known, may be experienced, may not be experienced, may be interpreted correctly or incorrectly. That does not matter. Truth does not wait for our interpretation. Truth is truth. And that must be one because it is Satyam Abadhitam. That entity is called Isha in Isavasya Upanishad. That is called in different names, in different Upanishads, in different philosophical systems. But that is called Isha or Ishvara in Isavasya Upanishad. So this is knowledge, this is wisdom, this is prajna. So Upanishadic, the opening verse of Isha Upanishad begins with wisdom. That knowledge which can liberate us, which can give us enlightenment, which can give us freedom, which can liberate us. That wisdom. It is not the empirical knowledge. It is not mathematical knowledge. It is not the knowledge of science. It is not the knowledge of logic. It is not the knowledge of mathematics. It is that knowledge by knowing which everything is known. Nothing is left. Ignorance is gone. And immediately there will be transformation in our being. We shall become something. We shall become that truth. So knowing the truth, one becomes that truth. So knowledge leads to self-transformation. By studying mathematics, we don't have any self-transformation. We just know some skill of doing commerce in our practical life. That does not make any self-transformation in our personal life. In our personal life means the spiritual experience is always personal. It cannot come from our teachers, scriptures. We can read so many scriptures, we may recite so many verses, slokas of Bhagavad Gita, of Upanishads, that will not make us liberate. That can't be the cause of our self-realization. Self-realization comes from within. That is our personal experience. Mere studying scriptures, mere following any religion, mere following any teacher, that can't help us in having self-realization. If personally we don't want, if personally we don't seek, so here knowledge is not for degree, knowledge is not for social recognition. Here knowledge means liberation. That gives you freedom instantly, overnight, immediately. And that may take lives after lives. So self-transformation may happen to us overnight, immediately, instantly. Instantly our ignorance may be removed. And it may take hundreds or thousands of lives after lives to remove our ignorance. So that is a journey from ignorance to knowledge. Ignorance to knowledge. And this is the purpose of Upanishadic wisdom. This is the purpose of the study of Upanishads. Therefore, the opening verse of Isha Upanishad begins with wisdom. That is the knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Isha. That one should know that whatever I am seeing, whatever I am experiencing, whatever I am visualizing, this world of multiplicity, that is nothing but Isa. We see many, but that is one. Unity in diversity, that is one principle. Each diversity, each part is also that. So there is a difference between whole and sum total. When we speak of a whole, that cannot be compared with the sum total of parts. Sorry, one phone call disturbed me. When we speak of the whole, that cannot be compared with the sum total of parts. This is a mistake, this is a misconception. If we can combine all the parts, we can't get that whole. So this is not a mathematical deal that infinite is the sum total of the finites. No. Infinite is beyond the finite. Infinite is not the sum total of the finites. That whole, which is divided into parts, the difference is in quantity. Quantitatively, the whole may contain more quantity and the part may contain less quantity, but the quality is same. Qualitatively, the whole and the part are same. For example, big ocean, vast ocean, and a drop of water from that ocean. Quantitatively they differ. By space and time they differ. Puri Sea Beach, Mumbai Sea Beach. By space they are different. Quantitatively they differ because in deep sea we can die. We can't bath in the deep water because the quantity is more. But we don't fear for a drop of water. So here quantity matters. We can drink one glass of water or two glass of water, but we can't take 100 glass of water. We can take. So here quantity matters. When we are purchasing a bottle of water, we are giving 20 rupees. If we are buying 2 bottles, then we have to pay 40 rupees. That means here quantity matters. But the essence is the same. In spite of the difference in quantity, they have the same essence. Whatever is there in the big ocean, the vast ocean, that is there in the drop of that ocean. Another example we can take gold and ornaments. Ornaments are different because that is the making part of the ornament, gold, making part of the gold. We can't wear a year wearing of 1 kg gold. It is impossible. So here the quantity differs, but the same goldness is present in the big mass and in a small part. This is the Upanishadic teaching. Unity in diversity means the quality in quantity. Unity in diversity means the quality in quantity. We have to observe the quality in quantity. Quantitatively, the difference may be there. Many things differ in quantity. In relationship, there may be difference. Then now we can come to the main topic, main example. There are different human beings. They are different. By quantity, they are different. Their weights are different. If father is 70 kg, the son is only 5 or 10 or 15. In knowledge, they differ. In personality, they differ. In IQ, they differ. In EQ, they differ. In looking, they differ. Even in relationship, they differ. As the son is related to his mother, the same lady is not related to the son's father. The relation is different. We are differently related with different people. This is a quantitative difference. But we all individuals, in spite of our difference, we have a common essence. That is consciousness. Very simple thing. It is not a so big philosophy that many people take it very seriously. That Upanishad teaching is very, very difficult to understand. The Bhagavad Gita is very difficult to understand. Very simple thing. When we are going to a jewelry shop, we can't afford to buy ornaments of 1 kilogram or 2 kilogram. We purchase according to our budget. So there we see the quality, whether it is made of gold or not, whether I am mistaking gold with other material or not. If it is gold, if there is goldness, what I am buying, if that object has goldness, then I shall buy the quantity according to my capacity. But the essence must be there. I may buy 1 gram or 2 grams or 5 grams or 10 grams according to my budget, according to my capacity. But that 1 gram must have a goldness, 2 grams must have a goldness, and 10 grams must have a goldness. Otherwise, I shall not buy. Similarly, human beings may differ in relation, in status, in knowledge, in social recognition, in richness. They may differ. But humanity must be there. The humanity is also a quality. This is not the highest quality of a man. This becomes ethical. But manhood must be there. Without manhood, man loses his own entity, own essence, own being. Man is accepted as a man because of his manhood. He may be father for a doctor. For a doctor, there is no relation of father, mother, sister, wife, husband, no relation. For a doctor, that is a human body. For a doctor, every relation becomes converted to one relation, that is patient. That he is my patient. And that is human body. So here, the differences are removed and we come to a general conception. Otherwise, a doctor can't operate. In the operation theatre, this body which is going to be operated, that is a human body. It does not matter that body is the father of somebody or mother of somebody. No, it does not do no matter at all. If there is hunger, it does not matter whether a dog is hungry or a human being is hungry or the principal is hungry or the peon is hungry. Hunger is hunger. So this visualization, if a man can visualize this, he is a man of wisdom. It is not necessary that those who write books after books on Upanishad, and a person is a professor in a university or a great guru who delivers talks on Upanishad daily, not necessary. An illiterate person of the remote village who has this perception of what? Perception of the quality in quantitative differences. Perception of the essence in the changes. That man is called the wise man. That man is qualified for Upanishadic wisdom. So that is the requisite, that is the precondition of having Upanishadic wisdom. It is not that it is in your PG course. Therefore, if you pass graduation, you can realize, you can understand. No. Even if you have studied all the scriptures thoroughly, you can't understand. If you don't have Shraddha, if you don't have that visualization. Therefore, Lord Krishna, for a very few moments, gave that Divya Chakhu to have that visualization. That whatever I tried by language and logic, all through the 18 chapters, that is one part of teaching. But you are so full, you are my Sakha, and you are also very wise, you are a great warrior. But by this means of logic and language, you can't understand that transcendental entity. For that, you need transcendental visualization. That means you have to go beyond. You have to go beyond the instruments which are used for empirical knowledge. If you are going to a scientific laboratory with certain instruments to know something scientifically, to know something truth which is related to this empirical world, with that instrument you can't have Brahma Vidya. You can't understand this essence. By scientific instrument, you can have scientific knowledge, the knowledge of science. And ultimately your conclusion is that everything is relative. This is your conclusion. You tried very hard and concluded that everything is relative. This is your conclusion. But in Upanishad, in metaphysics, our conclusion is not that. Our conclusion is that there is an ultimate truth. There is essence. This is our conclusion. We don't conclude, we don't end with relativity. We end with the absolute experience, absolute vision, complete freedom. This is our goal. So as your instrument, so is your achievement. If your instrument is very small, you claim that you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are a professor, and you are so and so, with some very poor instruments, we can see your goal. We can see. You shall become a very famous doctor, and ultimately you will steal the kidney, the organs. Because you cannot be satisfied with empirical knowledge. Because the ultimate goal of human being is not to attain the empirical knowledge. The ultimate goal is to attain the peace, happiness, joy, ananda. And where it is not outside us. It is not available in a market, even in a very costly market. Suppose you afford yourself to stay in a five-star hotel and you think that because I can afford to stay in a five-star hotel, then from that I can get pleasure. Yes, that will give pleasure for 1 day, 2 days. After 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, your senses will be tired. This was the observation of Nachiketa before the Lord of Death, Jama. Jama offered him everything. That you don't ask any question about death. I am not willing to say because you can't understand. And many have failed to understand it. In spite of that, if you ask me anything else, anything, any luxury, I shall give you. Nachiketa was a very small child. He rejected all the offers. He said that it is the truism, it is the truth that my senses will get tired after enjoying the same thing many times. My senses will get tired. I am not interested in these empirical pursuits. I am not interested. I want to know the secret of death. Because you are the appropriate authority. Because you are the Lord of death. So please tell me that secret. So here the seeker is tested. Here the student is tested. Whether you are really a seeker or not. Whether your seeking is genuine or not. Whether you have a compromising attitude or not. If you compromise your knowledge, your happiness with some object, then you can't attain that object. Because you stop on the way. So a true seeker can't stop on the way. He will stop when he will be immersed. He will be immersed in that deep ocean of wisdom. This wisdom, this knowledge is given to us in the very opening verse of Isavasya Upanishad, that Isavasyam idam sarvam. Understand this. And that Isa is one. And that oneness is present in each and everything. In Mundaka Upanishad, there is a very beautiful example. There is an example of a big fire, Agni, big fire, and a spark of fire. And it is common sense. It is not that the Mundaka Upanishad says so it is a very big thing. It is very common sense. If we have one matchstick, we can burn a jungle. Because in that spark, the essence of our Agni is there. Therefore, we can burn a jungle. We can burn a vast forest. So whatever is there in the big fire, that is there in the spark. When we are lighting our gas in the kitchen, we don't use big fire. Very spark. The lighter has a very spark. With that we get the big light, big fire. That means whatever is in the whole, in that one, that the same thing, no duplicate, no compromise. The same thing, the same essence is present in each and everything. This is one part. The second part is that we shall discuss today in the fourth verse, in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. In these 5 verses, we shall discuss. If that one is manifested in each and every part, now a question comes to our mind that we experience in the world of diversity, that there are pairs of opposites. Something is moving and something is not moving. Something is at rest, something is in motion. Opposites. There is cold, there is heat. Opposites are there. So here the question comes, if the one is present in each and every part, then can it be present in the pairs of opposites? This is the question. Oneness is present in each and everything. This is understood. But when there are contradictory things, can that be present in these pairs of opposites? Upanishad says yes. Science also says yes. We shall take an example from science, then we shall take the example. If it is verified in science, then it is not necessary to give any example in philosophy, in Upanishad. The same electricity can be used to have cold through a refrigerator, and the same electricity can be used to have heat through a heater. So the application is different, but here we use the same electricity. If there is power cut, if there is no electric supply, then neither the refrigerator nor the heater can operate. But these two, cold and heat, they are opposite to each other. We can give a social example. For example, a mother. Mother loves her child. But sometimes mother scolds her child. Mother gives punishment to her child. And sometimes mother lulls her child. In both the mental state, motherhood is not lost. When mother lulls her child, she is mother and she is aware that she is mother. And when the mother punishes her child, gives punishment to her child, she is very much conscious that she is mother. We may not expect this from a father. We may not expect this from a teacher. We may not expect this from a friend. There may be compromise, there may be exception. But in case of a mother, we can give this example. That whenever she lulls, she feeds her child, she is mother, she has that sentiment. The same sentiment is there when she is punishing her child. Similarly, when we are using the gold, we are making different types of ornaments. So types are many, but the same gold is present in all the varieties, all the types. So contradiction may be there in appearance, contradiction may be there in contextuality, but so far as the essence is concerned, these contradictions cannot contradict that essence because that is the transcendental reality. So we can say whatever moves, that is Isa, and what does not move, that is also Isa. I am giving another example. We can't say, if we speak time in the logical sense, we speak of time, that it will be a contradiction to say that one man can remain present at two places at one time. It is a contradiction. If you are at home, you cannot remain present in the college or in the market at the same time. So time has a specific, time determines your specific existence. Your presence becomes specific according to a specific time. If you are present at one place at one time, you cannot remain present in another place at the same time. But in case of God, in case of that unity, in case of that essence, we say that it not only it exists in two places, it can exist in all places at one time, because it is all pervaded. So how is it possible? Logically, empirically, mathematically, we can't say that one person can remain present at two places at one time. This is a logical oddity. This is a contradiction. Because there are there are three laws of thought: law of identity, law of contradiction, law of actual and middle. So there are some basic principles of logic, basic principles of thought. Without that, we can't think. So our thinking is regulated by the laws of thought. Without that, we can't think. Similarly, our empirical experience is conditioned by space and time. Without that, we can't have any experience. But when we are discussing about Isavasyam idam sarvam, there we say that it is all present, it is omnipresent, it is present everywhere at the same time. How is it possible? It is possible because here we are discussing about the quality. Here we are discussing about the essence. So in essence, this same thing can remain present in different places at one time, but in quantity, one person or anything cannot remain present at two places at the same time. Logically also we can say, if something is one, that is the essence, and it is all pervaded, so it cannot be restricted to a particular confinement, to a particular conditioning. If it is so, then it cannot be free, it cannot be one, it cannot be independent, it cannot be infinite. Therefore, contradictory attributes can be attributed to God. Suppose we say God is good. This is not the definition of God, that God is good. God is good means God is not bad. If God is good, that means God is not bad. That means badness is excluded from Godhood. If good and bad will be two opposite qualities, and if we say that God is good, that means beyond God or outside God, there is another reality, that is badness. Yes. So that limits the infinite status of God. So no attribute can be excluded from Godhood. If we say something good, it is only contextually good. It is according to our calculation, it is good. It is not good according to the divine calculation. And this is very beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you think good, that is good for you. If it suits you, if it favors you, then you say, or if it is according to a fixed law, fixed rule, then you say it is good. But that goodness varies from society to society, varies from community to community, varies from government to government, varies from state to state. So we don't deal with one goodness because goodness is contextual. So whenever we are giving a judgment of a goodness, good or bad, that is human calculation. That is the calculation according to social norms, according to the laws of state. But that is not good in the ultimate sense. This is also discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. Is killing good? Arjuna is asking. Is killing good? Repeatedly you are advising me to kill. Why should I kill? I am a rational being. I have my own rationality. I am conscious. Killing is a violence. Why should I kill? So here, this is a very big question. Is killing good? So we have to justify, yes, killing is good. So therefore we have to give a context that in the war field, when we are there to protect our dharma, to protect the dharma. So whoever will go, whoever will condemn dharma, whoever will be involved in adharma, whoever will promote adharma, he should be ready for fighting. He should be ready for war. And in the war, any party may be killed. This is the war ethics. Why there is war? There is war because there is a purpose. It is not a game. It is not an entertainment. War means there is a purpose. What is the purpose? What is the goal? The goal is to protect dharma. If protecting dharma is the goal of war, then whoever, even he may be your father, he may be your teacher, anybody else, whoever will commit adharma, we shall fight against him. This is common sense. So their killing is good. So when a soldier kills the enemy in the battlefield, that is his duty. Here killing becomes the duty of a soldier. If he will not kill, then he will do adharma. But that soldier, the same soldier, can't kill a person in the marketplace, in a marriage ceremony. He can kill his enemy in the battlefield when there is a just war. Just war means the ethical war, war with a purpose. So is killing good? Is telling lie good? Yes, telling lie is also good. Telling lie is good because if you are telling truth, it is detrimental for the society. If it will become the cause of somebody's death, then you should not tell truth. That means ethical prescriptions are contextual. So you do your swadharma. Whatever is your swadharma means the contextual dharma. It is not the general dharma in the general sense. Whatever may happen, it is not deontological. Whatever may happen, I shall speak the truth. No, I may speak, I may deviate from this virtue of telling truth if there is such a demanding context. In a particular context, I should tell lie in order to save my country. In order to save, if my telling lie is for lokasangraha, is for good for the community, then that is also virtue. That means which action is good or bad, that depends upon the context. So here comes the opposites. Telling truth is good, telling truth is bad. So how the same principle is good and bad? Because it is according to the context. In this context, telling truth is good. In another context, the telling truth is bad. Exactly, similarly, both the unmanifests and the manifests are equally meaningful. The formless and different forms are equally meaningful. When I am giving a social example, when we are playing different roles, we are doing our swadharma as a father, as a teacher, as a husband, as a son, as a citizen. We are doing our swadharma. We are doing our respective duties. These are the forms. And these forms vary from person to person. So this is the difference. But I am that nobody. I am not a father. I am not a son. I am not a teacher. I am not a citizen, because I know that I am not all these things. I know. And we all know that I am not simply a father. Being a father, I am also a son. So how can I claim that I am a father? I can claim that I am a father only in relation to my son. Otherwise not. I can't have that claim in other relations. I can claim that I am a husband only in relation to my wife. I can claim that I am a teacher only with relation of my students. So these relations are relative by nature. But beyond these relations, I am nobody, Mr. Nobody. And that nobody is my real identity. When I am sleeping, I am no more a father, no more a teacher. I am that identity. So one has to understand this difference. What happens? We become misguided by our forms because of our habits. We mistake the doll as the truth. We mistake a contextual duty as our identity. Okay, so that is Brahma Vidya, that is Upanishadic wisdom, that in and through the diversities you should have that constant wisdom that you are not this, neti. Similarly, you are not this body, you are not your mind, you are not your intellect. You are not. Similarly, you are not this waking state. You are not your dream state. You are not your dreamless sleep state. Whatever form you claim you are enjoying in this universe, in this practical life, simply you should have that knowledge that I am not this. This is tena tektena vanjita. You enjoy the form, but you should have that understanding, that minimum understanding, the minimum qualification that I am enjoying this, but I am not this. I am working in a college for 5 hours, 7 hours. That's enough. I am a lecturer for 7 hours. I can't say that I am a professor or I am a lecturer and that is my only identity. No. Even I can't say that I am only a father, I am only a husband, I am only a teacher. No. I am not this, not this, not this, not this. So the ignorance is I am this, the knowledge is I am not this. If you are really a man of wisdom, you will have understand that I am not this. Is it you? No. Is it you? No. Is it you? No. But somebody will ask, are you Brahman? Yes. But you don't ask me. This is not a question. This is my existence. This is my essence. By giving answer to your question, I don't become Brahman. I am Brahman. If you ask or don't ask, if I answer or don't answer, I am Brahman. It is beyond debate. It is beyond interpretation. But when I am claiming that I am a teacher, it is debatable. When I am claiming that I am a student, it is debatable. But when I am claiming, there is no claim. There is no claim that I am Brahman. It is the experience. It is the experience of that truth. And it is not a big thing. Only the very simplest thing is that you have to observe, you have to visualize the forms. And you should have a Sakhi Bhava, you should have that witnessing agency. That yes, I can at least observe the different forms. Similarly, I am not involved in this Jagat. I am not involved in this world. I can observe this world. I am an observer. I am an observer. So, from such an observer, there is no contradiction. There is no duality. For such an observer. But who is indulged in the world of diversities, for them there is contradiction. This is cold, this is heat. From the Vyavaharika Satta, from the perspective of the practical life, this contradiction must be there. And we should have that knowledge too. Otherwise, we can't live in the practical life. So this is the difference. So when we speak of the absolute, it can accommodate the contradictory attributes. When we speak of the empirical entity, it can't accommodate the contradictions. It will be either this or the other. But when we go beyond, for example, when we are sleeping, all the forms, being a father, being a son, being a husband, being a teacher, being a citizen, all these forms are merged together in our personality, in our that being, impersonal being. That is not personal. That is the universal, that is the general. There is no specific identity that I am a father, mother, etc. No. So we should have two types of consciousness, that in the empirical world, when we are living practically in our practical life, we should have the empirical consciousness that X is different from Y. The knowledge of difference is also necessary. Otherwise, we can't have any relation. We should have the knowledge of the difference, that this is called sister, this is called wife, this is called mother, this is called teacher. We should know this difference. Otherwise, we can't live in this practical life. But that knowledge is not enough. In spite of that difference, as I gave an example, that for a doctor, there is no relation in the operation theatre that this body is the body of a mother or a body of a sister. Similarly, relations are there, and we maintain our relation, and there is contradiction also. But we should understand that we are the same Atman. We are the same pure consciousness. We are the source of bliss. We are the source of Ananda. We are that one. In essence, in quality, we are one. In quantity, in empiricality, we are many. We are different. And that essence which is found in which is found being abstract from the empirical world, that essence is also found in each and everything. Therefore, it is not necessary to go to a holy place to visit God, because Godhood is present in everything. In everything, even in mud, even in the bad smell, there is divinity. Because nothing is devoid of divinity. That is present in a fragrant flower, that is present in fragrance, and that is also present in the bad smell. So this is the contradiction. Because the all-pervasive entity cannot remain aloof from anything else. Because that is merged in everything. It's merged in everything. So in good and in bad, in good and in evil, everything, in everything there is that essence. So tat ajati, tat na ajati, tat dure, tat antike. That is very near to us and that is very far from us. That is moving and that is not moving. And that is within us and that is outside us. All these contradictory attributes can be attributed to that essence. Because he cannot remain absent in anything. Can't remain absent. If he is absent, then he cannot be all-pervasive. He cannot be omnipresent. Similarly, he is blissful, Ananda, Paramananda, Paramananda, Sadananda, Sadananda. That means there is no time for Ananda. There is no space for Ananda. You are the source of Ananda. You are the source of bliss. So in the contradictory situations, you should not miss that current of flow of Ananda. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, and in the Upanishad it is also said, that for a Sthita Prajna, there is no matter of grief or pleasure. The mind is constant, the mind is stable, the mind is equipoised in the contradictory situations. Mind is same for a friend and same for the enemy. Therefore, Lord Krishna advised Arjuna not to fight out of animosity. Don't fight out of animosity. Ragare, krodhore piti pakana. ଭୀମ ହେଇଥିଲେ ସେୟା କରିଥାନ୍ତି. କିନ୍ତୁ ଅର୍ଜୁନଙ୍କୁ ଏଇ କଥା କାହିଁକି ବୁଝିଆ ହଉଛି ନା ଅର୍ଜୁନ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ବୁଝିପାରିବେ. ଭୀମ ହେଇଥିଲେ ତାର କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ସେ ଗଦା ଉଠେଇବେ ପିଟିବେ. ଏ ଗଦା ଉଠେଇକିରି ପିଟିବାଟା ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ନୁହଁ. ଡୋଣ୍ଟ ଫାଇଟ୍ ଆଉଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଆନିମୋସିଟି. ଇଫ୍ ୟୁ ଆର୍ ଫାଇଟିଂ, ୟୁ ସୁଡ୍ ନଟ୍ ଫାଇଟ୍ ୱିଥ୍ ଆଙ୍ଗର, ୱିଥ୍ ଆନିମୋସିଟି. ଶତ୍ରୁତା ଭାବ ରଖିକିରି, କ୍ରୋଧାନ୍ୱିତ ହେଇକିରି ଯୁଦ୍ଧ କରାଯାଏ ନାହିଁ. Don't fight out of animosity, because your goal is not to satisfy your anger. Your goal is to protect dharma. Similarly, don't quit war out of love. ରିଲେଟିଭସ୍ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛ ବୋଲି ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ଛାଡିକିରି ପଳେଇ ଯାଅନି, ଯୁଦ୍ଧ କର। ଏବଂ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ କରିବ ବୋଲି ରାଗରେ ପିଟି ପକାନି। See how these contradictions are discussed in Bhagavad Gita and in Upanishads. When you are doing your duty, you should not be biased by either love or animosity. No, no, not my son or the son of an enemy. If I am evaluating the answer script of a son of my enemy, I should not evaluate from that perspective. This is simply an answer script. I shall value that according to its value, not according to not according to his identity, that he is the son of my enemy. This is called karma yoga. This is the attitude of a true seeker, true man of wisdom. So for the wise, there is no contradiction, because he transcends all contradictions. So when we go beyond, naturally we transcend the contradictions. Contradictions are available in the ground. Contradictions are transcended on the above. The more we go above and above, the more we become one, the more we become synthetic. Our attitude, our character, that becomes synthetic. And that synthetic personality is Isha, for whom there is no contradiction. And in the 7th verse it is said, 6th and 7th verse it is said, that such a person who can understand both the unmanifest and the manifest, both the nirakara and sakara, both the nirguna and the saguna, both the formless and form, the person who is able to understand this, for him there is no sorrow, there is no despair, no frustration, no failure, nothing. And that person cannot be unhappy, cannot be in bondage. That person is a liberated person. So this is the nature of self, that the self is infinite, it is transcendent, it is one, it is independent, it is the source of all existence, it is the source of all bliss, it is absolutely liberated, it is freedom, it is abhakta, it is achintya, which cannot be thought, because whenever we think, we apply logic. So it is beyond our thoughts, it is beyond form, it is nirakara, it is akshara, it is akhanda. We have to understand this, but with that knowledge, we have to live in the world of diversity. So Upanishad does not restrict our knowledge only for the sannyasi, only for the seers who will leave this world and live in the Himalayas. No. With that Upanishadic wisdom, with that wisdom of oneness, we have to live in this empirical world of contradictions. So contradictions are natural in this empirical world. It is natural. But when we are living through the contradictions, we should have understanding of the unity. That from the standpoint of unity, this diversity is meaningless. Because that one and many are nothing but one. The essence is the same. So this understanding we should have. In the 9th verse that we shall discuss tomorrow morning, that is a very, very important verse. There we shall discuss, if this is the truth, if this is the nature of self, then why human beings fail to realize it? They know it, when their teachers teach it. But when they come out of the classroom, again they become indulged in this empirical world. Again they become indulged in different type of relations. They become infatuated, mohagrasta. Why they don't stick to that knowledge? So in the ninth verse we shall discuss there is a distinction between Vidya and Abidyah. And Vidya is again of two types, Para and Apara. So Abidyah, Paravidya, Aparavidya. There are three dimensions of human knowledge. So there are three types of people around us. Some are indulged in Avidya, some are indulged in Aparavidya, and some are the real seeker of Paravidya, that is Brahmavidya, that is the self-knowledge, that is self-realization. So we are all qualified, but we have our qualification is empirical qualification. We mistake Avidya as Vidya, we mistake Aparavidya as Vidya. We shall discuss that in the next session tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. 10 o'clock we shall discuss this. We know everything, but in the practical situation we fail to apply it. Duryodhana said that I know what is adharma. I know, but I am inclined to that. I know what is dharma, but I have no interest in that. Why is it so? Now, this is the human tendency. This is the prakriti. Why? Because what is your interest in life? Whether you are worshipping Vidya, whether you are worshipping Avidya or worshipping Aparavidya. Three types of knowledge we shall discuss in the next session. If anybody has any question, you may ask. Otherwise, we shall stop. Dear students, if you have any question, whatever we discussed today, kindly ask me, I shall answer you. If you don't have any question, then we shall stop here. Thank you. You have no question. So we shall meet again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Nature of Jagat, nature of Jiva, and we concluded with a question that if at all we know the reality or there is a scope for understanding the reality, we have scriptures, we have teachers, we have wisdom, but in spite of that, why human beings suffer from confusion, frustration, delusion? Why? What is the reason? So the very first verse, the opening verse that speaks about the Upanishadic wisdom, that this is all pervaded. There is one eternal entity, not the second entity. Everything is pervaded by Isa, God, or the one eternal principle. He is the unmanifest state and he is also the manifestation. Whatever is there in the whole, that is also found in the part. So the whole and part both are one and the same. Unity in diversity means to see the quality in quantity, to see the essence in difference. This is the knowledge. This is the basic knowledge. If we have this fundamental knowledge, this basic knowledge, then we can apply that knowledge in this practical life. Whatever we see around us, this external jagat, the world, whether it is really many, whether it is really the world of diversity, or we find the same essence in each and every part of the diversity. So the Upanishadic wisdom says that the whole is same as the part. So each and every part of this this world is Isa. So the beginning is Isa, the end is Isa, and the middle is also Isa. The processing, the everything is nothing but that essence, that one entity. But when we discuss about the dimension of human knowledge, there are three dimensions, three types of human knowledge. One is Abidyah, that means the state of ignorance. The other is the state of knowledge. And the third one is the state of wisdom. So ignorance, knowledge, and wisdom. Many people, they are ignorant of the reality. Many people, they have knowledge about the reality. And many people, they have wisdom about the reality. So what is the difference between these three types of a personality? If one personality being covered by ignorance, the other is qualified by knowledge, and the third one is qualified by wisdom. So there are three types of human knowledge. These are the dimension of human knowledge. So Upanishad says Paravidya, that is the knowledge par excellence, that is the highest knowledge, that is Brahma Vidya, that is self-realization, that is considered as the true knowledge. That is considered as knowledge par excellence. That is the highest knowledge. That is possible only through self-realization. So any knowledge that gives us peace, that gives us happiness, that gives us freedom, that liberates us, that is called Paravidya. That is called the highest knowledge. That knowledge, by knowing which everything is known. The fundamental source of knowledge, the basic source of knowledge is Paravidya, the highest knowledge. If this is the definition of knowledge, then we can define Aparavidya and Avidya, that absence of knowledge, that is Avidya, that we don't know. We don't know means we are ignorant. The second one is we know, but we know it wrongly. We don't know it in the proper sense. That is Aparavidya, we shall discuss. And Paravidya is the highest knowledge, the right knowledge, the correct knowledge, that is self-realization. So three types of knowledge. Ignorant people, they are ignorant of the reality. Those who claim that they know the reality, actually they don't know the reality, because there is no knowledge claim in self-realization. No claimant. Nobody can claim that he knows. If somebody claims that he knows, really he does not know. Really he does not know. So self-realized person cannot claim that he knows. But in Aparavidya, the knower claims that he knows. And the knower is aware of the source of knowledge, that whether I am perceiving it through my sense organs or I am thinking it through my intellect, the person is very much conscious about the source of knowledge. And the person is conscious that he is the knower. And not only that, the person claims that whatever he knows, that is right. Why? Because there is testimony, because he believes in the scriptures, he believes in the teachers. Why it is accepted? Because it is there in the scriptures. So the knowledge through scripture, knowledge through teacher, that is also Paravidya. That is not the perfect knowledge. Because we received that knowledge from the scripture as it has been interpreted by the seers, by another person. But when we speak of the right knowledge, that is only personal, that is only self-realization, that is experience. So there is a difference between knowing and experiencing. If I experience the truth personally, directly, intuitively, then that is the highest knowledge. By that, there is no duality. No duality between the knowledge and the known. No duality between the knower and the knowledge. No duality between the knower and the known. The subject of knowledge and the object of knowledge, they are one and the same. Brahmavit brahmeva bhavati. I know the truth means I become the truth. The knower of truth and truth are one and the same. But whenever there is a claim between the knower and the known, that is not Paravidya. That is Aparavidya. In Bhakti also, when we say that today I had a very beautiful darshan of Lord Jagannath, that means somebody is seen and that is a seer. Who saw? He is the seer. And Jagannath is seen, that is the object of our visualization. So here there is a difference between the Bhakta and Bhagavan. So this is not Nirguna Bhakti. This is not the highest form of Bhakti. If you have a darshan of Lord Jagannath, a real Bhakta can't claim that I saw Lord Jagannath. You are claiming means you are the claimer. You are not immersed in that divinity. There is a duality between the Bhakta and Bhagavan. Therefore we say, therefore we search God outside. We search God in the temple. We saw God in the rituals. We saw, we try to find God in different religions. We try to find God in temples. We try to find God in customs, in rituals. That means we are not a self-realized person. We are not that. So God is not found in the temple. God is not found in a particular confinement, because we know that Isavasyam idam sarvam. So if we understand one concept, from that we should be clear about our practice. If we know that Isavasyam idam sarvam, that God is all pervaded, God exists everywhere, then we should not search God in the temple. We should not search. That means if we search God in a temple or in any religion, that proves that we have not understood the fundamental thesis, fundamental belief that Isavasyam idam sarvam. The word Jagannath also means that. Jagannath means the Natha of the Jagat. He is the Lord of the entire universe. So he cannot be confined in a particular space and time, in a particular religion, in a particular community. This is a misconception about religion. So when we speak of universal religion, we speak of the Nirguna Bhakti. That means the universal essence is common to all. So the first verse, the opening verse of Isavasya Upanishad, which speaks about Upanishadic monism, that everything is one, everything is, there is a unity in diversity. So that philosophy is reflected in our action and devotion. If we understand this truth, then we shall guide our action accordingly. If we understand this truth, then we can guide our feelings, emotions accordingly. If God is all pervaded, then everything belongs to God. So I should not possess more. I should not covet others' property, others' wealth. This is the ethics that comes from this conviction, metaphysical conviction. If everything is pervaded by God, then I should have a nirguna bhakti, nirguna upasana, unconditional love. So this is the implication of Upanishadic wisdom. If we understand the truth in this way, our action and devotion will be guided by this philosophy. So this is Paravidya. Paravidya means the right application of our understanding. If we understand that the ultimate truth is one, everything is Isa, that understanding should be reflected in our action and devotion. Then we can claim ourselves having wisdom. Wisdom means to live with truth, to live with our knowledge. Knowledge means the acquired knowledge. Knowledge may be acquired from the scriptures, by the study of scriptures. Knowledge can be acquired from teachers when we are listening to our teachers. So we get to know many things. So knowledge is transformed from our teachers. Knowledge is from our scriptures. The door close. Close the door. कौन कहूली so Paravidya, yes. So,
yes, our knowledge to acquire from pictures, scriptures. Knowledge is acquired from pictures, scriptures, and
yes. In the Mundaka Upanishad, in the Mundaka Upanishad, this is stated in the very clearly that even the study of the Vedas is also Paravidya. That is not Paravidya. It appears to be, we may not believe it. It may surprise us that how the study of the Vedas can be called Aparavidya. Veda is the highest source of knowledge. Upanishad is the highest source of knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is the highest source of knowledge. Prasthanatrayi, Brahmasutra, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad is the highest source of knowledge. But the study of these scriptures is Aparavidya if we simply study that without practicing in our practical life. Suppose you remember 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, but you don't practice any one sloka in your practical life, then that is only your Aparavidya. So many people, those who claim that they know the truth, that is only the reflection of or exposition of their ego. So there should not be any egoistic claim that I know the truth. I am well versed in the Vedas and Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. I can recite all the slokas of Bhagavad Gita. Even I understand Bhagavad Gita. I teach Bhagavad Gita. These are not Paravidya. Such type of a claim is not about the claim about Paravidya. In Paravidya there is no claim at all. There is no claimer at all. No claimer. No, nobody can claim. No claimant. No claim. Nobody can claim that yes, I know Brahman. Because the moment you know Brahman, the I is cancelled. Only Brahman is there. I in bracket cannot be a subject there, an independent subject of Brahman. That knower is merged in the known. Here the subject and the predicate is one. Except this realization, any other realization is Aparavidya. Any other understanding, any other study is Aparavidya. This is the message of Upanishad. Avidya is understood. Avidya means not knowing. If you don't know something, it is very clear. I don't know. That is my ignorance. The second possibility, the highest possibility, I know. I don't know, this is ignorance. I know in the true sense of knowing, that is Paravidya. But in between these two possibilities, there is a very complicated process when we claim that we know something, but really we don't know. We are misguided by false knowledge, false interpretation, and we claim that we know the truth. That is Aparavidya. I am giving an example. Suppose you don't know address where we are going to. You don't know the address of your destiny. You don't know the address of your destination where even you don't know your future. So the future is the destiny, and you don't know your future, you don't know your tomorrow. So today you are living in the present. So if you imagine your tomorrow, if you imagine your future, then that imagination is your imagination, that is Aparavidya. If you give your own interpretation about the world, about Jagat, about Isa, and you take that to be granted, that this interpretation is the right interpretation, then that is Aparavidya. If you become a follower of a particular religion or a particular teacher, then that is Aparavidya. A true seeker is not a follower. A philosopher is not a follower. If you follow somebody without having your own realization, then that is Aparavidya. If you follow the scriptures, only studying, we are only studying the scriptures, but you don't live accordingly, then that is Aparavidya. So Paravidya is that which is wisdom, which is different from ordinary source of knowledge, that is the self-realization. I realize the truth. So I don't know the truth. This is ignorance. I claim that I know the truth. This is Aparavidya. I have realized truth. When I say I have realized, that I is suspended. There is no I. It is only realization. I have merged with the truth. When I claim that I know, there is a claimant. There is a knower. There is the ego. That ego claims that he knows. So whatever we imagine, actually we live in our imaginary world. Our problems are all imaginary. Real problem is 1%. Imaginary problem is 90%. We suffer from our imagination. We suffer from our interpretation. We suffer from our convictions. So we don't wait for our realization. When there is self-realization, there is no threat of misrepresentation, misinterpretation, and imagination. We are free from that. So we imagine our Jagat, and we try to live in that Jagat. We try to achieve that Jagat, and if we don't achieve our imaginary Jagat, then we think that we are failure. From that we get frustration, confusion, delusion, because we could not achieve our imaginary target. We can't live in our imaginary world. So Aparavidya is our own acquired knowledge without understanding the truth, without realizing the truth, without becoming that. If we know something, then that is Aparavidya. I was giving that example. Suppose you are in a crossroad and there are many roads and you have forgotten the address. So that is a point of ignorance because you don't know the address in which way you should go. That is one position. But if you are misguided by a stranger and you went in a wrong way, 20 kilometers or 50 kilometers, that is bad because you have to return to the square, the point. Again, you have to get the right direction. So the confused person is far away from self-realization. Rather, we don't know something that is good. I am giving another example. There is a very beautiful verse in Mundaka Upanishad that there is an example. Suppose somebody is a blind person. So for a blind person, everything is dark. Everything is dark because he can't see anything. And the blind person knows that he is blind. So whatever he knows through inference, by a stick or by through other sources of perception, he tries to know the truth. So he is really an ignorant of truth. He does not know the truth because he is blind. But another person who is claiming that he knows the truth, and ultimately we came to know that the second person is guided by the blind person. The blind person claims that he does not know. But another person, another blind man who is guided by this blind man, he is claiming that I know the truth, that is Aparavidya. That means we are all blind men guided by other blind men. So a blind is guiding another blind. So if we are reading our scriptures, if we are listening to our teacher, we should be very much careful whether the scriptures are interpreted in the true sense of the term or interpreted correctly, and whether our teachers have self-realization or not. Whether a teacher who is teaching Upanishad, he is a realized soul or not. If he is not a realized soul, he is not really qualified to teach Upanishad. Academic discussion is all right. Discussion in the university classroom is all right. Discussion according to the syllabus of the university, that's all right. But the real teaching of Upanishad is possible between that type of teacher and that type of disciple who have self-realization. Because the teaching and learning of Upanishadic wisdom is not academical. It's not academic. It is very personal. So we should be conscious about the fact that am I guided by another blind? I am blind. Whether I am guided by another blind person or not. Who is guiding me? Is he a competent authority or not? So that was exemplified in the battle of Kurukshetra. That when there is a war situation, generally we fear that how can I fight against my father? How can I fight against my teachers? How can I fight against my brothers? They are my relatives, they are my seniors, they are my teachers. How can I fight against them? Generally we think that. But in a higher scheme, in the scheme of Dharma, we should have the realization that war is meant for the protection of Dharma. So if you really want to protect Dharma, you should not see who is committing adharma. So whoever is committing adharma, you should fight against him. So when you are doing your duty, you should be unconditional. Fighting is your duty. Arjuna should only two parties. One party who is trying to protect dharma and the other party who has committed adharma. So that is a battle between dharma and adharma. So this is the fundamental principle, fundamental ethics. And even God, who is the creator of dharma, so this message is given in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Upanishads. Similarly, if there is any mistake in our scripture, if there is any mistake with our teachers, we should not accept that. If we accept and if we claim that we know everything, that is nothing but aparavidya. That is not paravidya. If our knowledge is based upon scriptures, if our knowledge is derived from the outside teacher, and we don't have any realization of that, then it is not paravidya. Paravidya means very simple. Paravidya means the direct realization of the truth. Many people take it very seriously, and they think that this is not everybody's cup of tea. There are very few people can have that realization. By saying that, they create fear to attain Upanishadic wisdom. But it is very simple. It is common sense. I can give another example. When we speak of a motherhood, I was also discussing yesterday that when we speak of a mother, and that mother may be illiterate, that mother is not a man of wisdom, the mother has not studied Upanishadic philosophy, she is illiterate mother. But the mother, when a mother loves her child, she becomes the child. When you are able to become something, that is freedom. If you fail to become, then you are in bondage. So you should be so flexible that you can become whatever you like. You can be very small, you can be very big, you can be expanded. Because nothing is your own, nothing, you should not be trapped by any one confinement. So when a mother loves her child, she becomes the child. Therefore, the child thinks that she is not, because a child does not have any mother concept. The child does not understand what a mother is. So a child will accept only a child. A child, psychologically, a child will accept another child only. So when the child accepts her mother, only when the mother becomes the child. This is the difference between a mother and a father. It is very difficult for a father to become a child because the father has the ego of being a father. That is the male ego. But I am father. I have no time to become a child. Whatever I shall say like a father because I am a father. But a mother can become a child. So she will tell different stories. She will spend some time with the child. And what is her intention? Her intention is to feed the child, to lull the child, to make the child asleep. This is her intention. So she is the protector of the child. She is the real lover of the child. So she can become the child. So when we become the truth, when we become something by applying our wisdom, that is Paravidya. So mere saying that Brahman is truth, Brahman is Almighty, and reciting different slokas from Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishad, that man is not really a person, really a man of wisdom. He is not a realized soul. Therefore, he is not qualified for Paravidya. He can't say that he has attained Paravidya. Paravidya is equal to Brahman. When knowledge is equal to the object of knowledge, the known and knowledge, the knower, known and knowledge, Jnana, Jnanta and Jnana, these three are one, nothing but one. Nothing but one. They are identical. They are merged. There is no distinction between the knower and the known. In Bhakti Marga, this is also there. A Bhakta should not claim that today I have a very beautiful darshan of the deity or Lord. Because when you claim that, in between Lord and you, there is an interval, there is a gap, there is a duality. No claim that I have a very beautiful darshan of Lord Jagannath, I have a very beautiful darshan of the deity. That is because your I, your ego does not stand as a second entity to the God, to the deity. You are merged with Lord. There is no distinction between a Bhakta and a Bhagavan. That is the purest bhakti, that is called, we can call it Nirguna Bhakti. You don't have any prayer also. You don't pray for achieving anything. You don't pray for gaining anything from this world, material world. You have no prayer. You don't pray to get anything. In Nirguna Bhakti, there is no prayer for getting anything. For examination, I am praying. For my child, I am praying. For my promotion, I am praying. So that is not the true prayer. True love or devotion is only samarpana, is only surrender, only being one with the divinity. The lower and the higher, they are one. Similarly, in knowledge, there is no distinction between the knower and the known. Knower and a known. This is Paravidya. Any knowledge that is devoid of this qualification, that is Aparavidya. So which is good? Avidya is good or Aparavidya is good? Vidya is all right. Vidya is the highest knowledge. Vidya means the right knowledge. Vidya means the self-realization, the realization of truth. That is understood. That is good. So now we have two other options. One is either we are ignorant or we are misguided by false knowledge. Out of these two, ignorance is better. Therefore, in the ninth verse, it is said that those who are ignorant, or those who are blind, they will enter into darkness, the world of darkness. A blind person will enter into darkness. It is very natural. Everybody will agree with this point that yes, if somebody is blind, he will be in the blindness. He will be in the darkness. It is very natural. But the greater darkness, they enter. Those who are guided by a blind man. A blind man enters into the world of darkness. Another person who is guided by this blind man, he enters into greater darkness. That means misguidance is worse than no guidance. If you are not guided, that's all right. You have no knowledge. You stand on the crossroad waiting for the right knowledge. But if you are misguided by another blind man, then you will enter into the greater darkness. Why? Because once we have wrong knowledge, we take it to be granted, and we become more convinced. We become so much convinced that we fail to accept the other view. We fail to accept the other views only because we are convinced by our own view. So wrong knowledge leads to false conviction. So out of that, it is very difficult to make ourselves free. Therefore, Aparavidya or wrong knowledge or false knowledge or knowledge from wrong sources cannot be lead us to the perfection. It cannot liberate us. Rather, it is more problematic than the avidya. So avidya, aparavidya, and paravidya. There are three types of human knowledge: avidya and vidya. So it is understood that avidya is bad, vidya is good. But when we discuss about vidya, again we have two types of vidya. One is aparavidya and the other is paravidya. So here, aparavidya means our so-called knowledge, our academic knowledge, our certificate-based knowledge, our experience-based knowledge. That is aparavidya. Suppose there are different states of our layers of consciousness. One is the waking state, the dream state, and the dreamless sleep state. Suppose you are in a dream state. Somebody is dreaming. We are observing that somebody is dreaming. And in the dream, he is claiming that he is the king. And the dreamer thinks that his claim is right. But we see that man is sleeping, and in the dream sleep, he is dreaming, and he is shouting that I am the king, I am the king, I am the king. And at that moment, he is also claiming. He is very much convinced of the fact that he is really the king. But that is nothing but an illusion. When he wakes up, he finds the truth that was false. My claim was false. So in the waking state, the dream becomes false. But in the dream state, the dreamer thinks that whatever he dreams is true. So this is also the situation with the person in the waking state. In the waking state also, whatever we become aware of, we claim that is true. In the waking state, we see this jagat of contradiction, this jagat of universe, diversity, and we fail to reject that world of diversity. We become engaged, we become attached with this world of diversity. Why? Because whatever we know, we claim that to be true. So as in the dream state, dream objects are false. Similarly, in the waking state, the objects of our knowledge are also false. This is a very important point we have to remember. In the waking state, we fail to know that whatever we are aware of, that is false. Because in order to know that, we have to land in a higher state of knowledge. But if when we look down, when we see a dreamer, then we realize this relativity of knowledge. So the waker is witnessing the situation, the fatal situation of the dreamer. The person in the waking state is capable of observing the situation of a dreamer who is dreaming and claiming at the same time that whatever he is dreaming, that is true. This situation is witnessed by is witnessed not by the dreamer who is dreaming, rather it is witnessed by another person who is in the higher state, that is the waking state. Similarly, in the waking state, whatever we claim to be true, that is also proved to be false by another person who lands in the higher state of knowledge. That means, in the waking state, whatever we claim to be the source of our knowledge, that is nothing but Aparavidya. That may be from scriptures, that may be from teachers, that may be from our own experience of the empirical world. If that is not translated into the self-transformation, if that is not translated into action, if that is not reflected in our behavior, if we don't live accordingly, then that is nothing but Aparavidya. So knowledge through books, knowledge through teachers, knowledge through scriptures, knowledge through experience without self-realization is Aparavidya. So Paravidya is Brahmavidya, that is the self-realization, Atma-jnana, and that is liberative, that gives us liberation, that gives us freedom, that is knowledge par excellence, that is wisdom. That is bliss, Satchid Ananda, that is the pure Sat, pure Chit, and pure Ananda. Satchid Ananda, that is the highest state. But Aparavidya is egoistic by nature. There is a claimant, there is a knower who claims that whatever I know, that is true, whatever I know, that is correct. And Avidya is the ignorance, not knowing the self. So three things. Not knowing the self is ignorance. I don't know myself. This is ignorance. When we mistake the self as the body, as the mind, as the intellect, as the waking state, as the dream state, as the dreamless sleep state, or as any form of our life, that is Aparavidya. But when we identify ourselves with Brahman, with our true nature, that is Paravidya. These three things. First one, I don't know myself. I don't know my own identity. This is Avidya. The second is the false identification, misidentification. I wrongly identify myself as this Jagat, as this body, as my knowledge, as my intellect. That is Aparavidya. And Paravidya is the knowledge par excellence, the highest realization. So there are three types of knowledge. So liberation is possible only through Paravidya. That is the highest goal of life. That is the ultimate goal of life. Mukhya is the Parama Purusartha. So that Mukhya, that liberation is possible only through self-realization, Paravidya. Aparavidya cannot liberate us. Rather, Aparavidya shall put us in bondage. Thank you. If anybody has any question regarding Avidya, Aparavidya and Paravidya, kindly ask me. I shall answer. Ignorance, knowledge and wisdom. Ignorance, knowledge and wisdom. Ignorance means not knowing. Knowledge means the knowledge that has been acquired from different sources, including our scriptures and teachers, including philosophy, religion, science, literature, including the Vedas and Upanishads. Whatever we have acquired from different sources, without having our self-realization, that is Aparavidya. and Paravidya is self-realization. Paravidya is identified with the truth. There are three dimensions. So liberation is possible, freedom is possible only through right knowledge, only through Brahma Vidya. Therefore it is said in the Upanishad, Brahmavit Brahmeva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Is there any question in the chat box? Kindly guide us how to balance Aparavidya. A very good question. Thank you, Sarvani Madam. It's a very good question. So we understood the difference between Avidya, Aparavidya, and Paravidya. But Madam is asking the question that because we are living in the empirical world, we should have knowledge of the empirical world. We should have the knowledge of relativity. Otherwise, we can't live in this practical with Brahmavidya. Brahmavidya is good. Brahmavidya is knowledge per excellence. That is liberative by nature. But when we are living with different forms, when we are doing different duties, when we are living with different forms, when we are living in the world of contradictions, so we are bound to follow the Aparavidya, the knowledge of the empirical world. So how can we make a balance? Therefore, in the previous session, we are discussing that we have to understand both the form and formless. We have to understand that I am everybody, and at the same time I am nobody. I am playing different roles, but really I have no role to play. We have to understand these two identities of ourselves. We are playing double role. We are playing the role of the formless, Nirakara. I am that pure consciousness. And we are also playing different roles. Role of a father, role of a son, role of a teacher, role of a citizen. So when we are playing different roles, we are playing different games. Every game has its rules and regulations, has its limitations. So when we are living in the empirical world, we have to deal with the natural laws. Yes, there is heat and cold. So when there is heat, we have to take the precaution accordingly. When there is cold, we have to take the precaution accordingly. In the empirical world, cold is cold and heat is heat. We can't combine them. There will be difference. But in our wisdom, we should understand that cold and heat are nothing but the manifestations of one reality. The same thing has become cold and the same thing has become heat. I had given an example that the same electricity is used to operate a refrigerator, which gives us coldness, cool, and the same electricity is used for a heater that gives heat. So in manifestation, there is difference and we have to accept that. When we need coolness, we need a refrigerator. When we need heat, we need a heater. So from our Vyavaharika Satta, from the perspective of this empirical world, we are bound to follow the diversity. We are bound to follow the difference. And we have to respond accordingly. Otherwise, we are fool. Otherwise, we are not wise. A really wise person is he who accepts the perspective as the perspective, and who knows that this is only a perspective. From the absolute standpoint, it is false. When I am playing the role of Ravana in the stage, there I should focus on that image of Ravana, the dialogues of Ravana, the expression of Ravana. I should behave like a true Ravana on the stage. But at the same time, I know that I am not this Ravana. I am playing the role of Ravana only on this stage, according to this script, according to this drama. In the next day, I may take a role of the villain. And the next day, I can take the role of a beggar. When I am playing the role of a beggar on the stage, who was Ravana yesterday, there I forget the role of Ravana. I am simply a beggar. I should justify the role of a beggar. I should look like a beggar. I should speak like a beggar. Okay, so when Amitabh Bachchan is playing the role of a coolie, or playing the role of a sarabi, or playing a role of a beggar, or playing a role of a don, so he is not a don, he is not a beggar, he is not a coolie, he is not a sarabi. He is Amitabh Bachchan. He knows that. I am Amitabh Bachchan, but I am playing different roles according to the script, according to the film. Similarly, we are living in this empirical world where there is change, there is diversity, but at the same time we should know that this empirical world is false, illusory, it is subject to change. The person who understands both the change and the unchanging entity, both the substance and the attributes, both the unmanifest and manifest, both the formless and form, he is called the really wise person. Suppose you know only Brahman and you fail to live in this world of diversity, then you are not a complete personality. You are not really a man of wisdom. Suppose you are only involved in this world of diversity and you fail to understand that unity, then also you are not complete. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said there are three things: Akshara, Khera, and Purushottama. Purushottama is beyond both Akshara and Khera. Akshara is the unmanifest, Khera is the manifest, and Purushottama is that entity who is witness of both one and many. If you are trapped by oneness, you are incomplete. If you are trapped by manyness, you are incomplete. If you know that you are both one and many, then you are Purushottama. When a mother is becoming a child, the mother is becoming a child to feed the child. Otherwise, the child will not take anything. When a mother is becoming the child, at the same time, mother knows that she is mother. The mother is becoming the child. But what she is in fact she is mother, and at the same time she can become the child. So at the same time she is a mother and she is a child. So in our wisdom we should know that unity, but in our practice, in our practical life, we have to live in the world of diversity. So that is called attachment through detachment. We are attached with different forms, but at the same time, we are detached from all these forms. We are attached, and at the same time, we are detached. So, this is possible by that person who has this wisdom of unity and diversity both. That yes, I am that unity, I am that pure consciousness, and I am also going through different layers of consciousness. I am in the waking state, I am in the dream state, and I am also in the dreamless sleep state. And I am the witness of all these layers of consciousness because I am that pure consciousness. So how can we make a balance between Aparavidya and Avidya? This is the purpose of education. Why you are getting educated? You are getting educated to make this balance. That you are real and at the same time you are one, and at the same time you are many from different perspectives. If you know this, then you are really educated. You are really a man of wisdom. And that is freedom. If you know that, you are free from the forms. If you know the form, and if you know the limitation of a form, you are free from the form. If you are involved in the form without knowing its limitation, then you take that form to be granted. So anything can make you happy or unhappy. When you say that my husband is giving me happiness, you are trapped by your husband. If you claim that your money is giving you happiness, you are trapped by that money. Anything that can give you happiness, underline, anything that can give you happiness, that can also give you sorrow, tragedy, frustration. So nothing gives you happiness, nothing gives you tragedy, frustration. You are your frustration, you are your happiness. Unnecessarily you blame an object as the source of your happiness or the source of your frustration. Nothing. It is only your intellectual conviction, your imagination, your interpretation, your likes, dislikes, your attachment, your knowledge that makes you happy or unhappy. Happy or unhappy. That traps you. So have the empirical knowledge, live in the empirical world, but in the sense of detachment. That I am living in this empirical world, not like an animal, but like a wise person. Animals live in the empirical world, taking the empirical world as granted. But man can live in the empirical world, taking the empirical world as false. This is the difference between a wise person and a fool. This is the difference between animal and man. This is the difference between an ignorant man and a knowledgeable man, or a man of wisdom. This is the difference between man and Devata, man and a god. This is the difference between Purusha and a Mahapurusha. An ordinary man and human beings like Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo. This is the difference. How do you understand this world? How you take this world, and how you live in this world. The way you understand, in that way you live. As you understand, so you live in this world. So your world is your personal world. My world is my personal world. Thank you. If any question is there, please ask, or we shall stop here and we shall meet again next Saturday. Thank you. No question, so we shall stop here. Thank you all.